Shooting 777 loads in the Super Walker Revolver. William Hovey Smith, 2014. This is one of a series of videos on the Super Walker Revolver that started when I built the gun from a kit and will continue as I hunt with the gun.
This is Hovey Bloody Eye Smith, the backyard sportsman. And today we are going to do our chronographing work with the Super Walker. Yep, we have everything in a high degree of readiness. I'm going to shoot 220 grain bullets, 240 grain bullets, as well as round ball loads with 777 powder. Now we have found out previously that the Super Walker will work comfortably with a load of about 57 grains of FFG black powder and a round ball. Well, Super Walker did very well with a round ball load. And as it turns out, it did an average of 1,062 feet per second with the chronograph 15 yards from the gun. All right, and it fired all 6 shots just fine, although it still has a problem picking caps up and transporting them back.
Loading Kato Ajama's 220 grain bullet.
So we're going to measure out our load, calibrate our powder measure, and then I'll bring up the camera so you can see the details of loading with my Super Walker loading stand, which you see beside me. Now this ugly stand has multiple stations, so I can load the Remington revolver cylinder or the 44 Colt cylinders. That is just about right. These wads were cut from a little different material. It's thicker and it's not so compressible, but it adds better protection to the powder from the lubricant on the base of these bullets. However, it takes up more volume so I can load less powder. And what I found through a progression of attempts here, that the load for the 220 grain bullet and these wads needs to be 38 grains by weight. And so we're going to measure out said 38 grains here and load it up so you can see it. It's still a good volume of powder because 777 is less dense. Get very nearly there. That's it. All right. And we use our friendly powder funnel here, like we have used before. All the powder goes in the chamber it's supposed to. Good thing. We have our wad. Put that in. Rotate it around. I'm going to seat it down a little bit. And we take our bullet, Kato Ajama's 220 grainer, and we seat the base of it. A little extra lube around the bottom, but that doesn't affect anything. Center it up good. And then press it down. 1, 2. Good, solid, easy. Cuts off the ring of metal like it's supposed to. And it seats comfortably below the mouth of the cylinder. I want to show you some details about some of the operational characteristics of the gun. For one thing, I have a sight on it. And of course, you've got to be sure you turn the thing on and off and keeping the battery alive as long as you can. And I really like these sights better than I do either fixed iron sights or even a scope sight, particularly for things like wild hog hunting. Now in shooting the gun, if you have your hand where this will strike, it does not feel very comfortable. I guarantee you. That's why it was removed on later Colt pistols. Okay, so you want to make sure that your lower hand is somewhere where this doesn't get wrapped hard by this sharp edge. Okay, now we've got it loaded and capped, so we're ready to go. Got the chronograph set up and it is ready. So here we go. All right. The hammer plucked the cap here. And this gun is bad about that. I should have put a dollop of grease on it. As a matter of fact, it did. And it plucked it anyway. Again, cap stuck on the hammer. Cap stuck on the hammer. And that's the end of this 6-shot series. Now we're going to load the 240 grain bullet. And our last load with the 220 was 38 grains by weight. So we're going to cut back to 35 grains for the heaviest slug, I would believe, and see how that one works. Okay, 35 grains. So this would make it about, still nominally 45 grains with the measure. Measure's not all that precise. A little more than half. Much. About like that. Yeah. Okay. From the powder funnel here. Okay. But now these are not so hard an alloy as the previous bullet, so they're seating much easier. We're going to take our Super Walker here and shoot at 50 yards with a 220 grain bullet. And I think this is likely the most accurate load we've come up with yet. So hopefully we'll be able to put all 6 on target. Well, I was holding about as good as I could. So we've got one group of 3 right here, which actually look pretty good. And then the others down here. Well, we have come to the conclusion of this phase of our testing. In fact, we have finally gathered chronograph data that I can believe. Yeah, we've done that. And what we wound up with is that with a round ball load, and this is 37 grains by weight of 777 and 57 grains by volume, we got 1,042 feet per second and 342 foot-pounds. Moving in bullet weight, we have the 220 grain Kato Ajamas bullet, and it averaged 966 feet per second with 38 grains of 777 by weight, 50 grains by volume, and a total of 456 foot-pounds. With the heavier 240 grain Kato Ojama bullet, we had a velocity of 887 feet per second with a powder charge of 37 grains by weight or 47 grains by volume and an energy of 419 foot-pounds. So for energies we got 342, 456, and 419, with the 220 grain bullet giving the highest energy. What does this mean? Okay, well, this isn't a 44 Magnum. In fact, the 44 Magnum develops about twice the muzzle energy that this does. Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with this gun. And you could eke out a few more foot-pounds and feet per second out of it, but I'm not going to even try. This is not a 44 Magnum. It is, however, a very capable handgun that can take medium-sized deer and hogs. Yes, sir. With either round ball or preferably the 220 grain Kato Ojama bullet. Now that bullet will give deeper penetration. On accuracy, I found, in fact, that the 220 grain bullet was more accurate than the heavier 240 grain bullet. But we still have some development to do. This is the target at 50 yards with the 220 grain bullet. These 3 shots, which you see, is what everyone would hope for. Yeah, that's what you want them all. But I got the other 3 down here. Why? Well, I don't know yet. It could have to do with non-uniformity in the bullets. I think the load was about as uniform as I could load it, particularly using my loading press. Or it is also not unusual that one's chamber of a percussion revolver cylinder will shoot significantly worse than the others. But yeah, the gun holds promise. Would it shoot round balls more accurately? I think very likely so. So these are issues that we'll investigate further as we come along. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
Colt revolvers are inherently weak because of their open-top design, and heavy loads of 777 can cause failures of the barrel wedge and or the cylinder pin. Now these can be replaced and the revolver returned to service by a competent gunsmith. So use these heavy loads with extreme care. These are the equivalent of the plus P plus loads in black powder revolvers. Now you can improve the functionality of the gun by using a heat-resistant grease on the cylinder pin and operating the hammer sharply when you cock the gun to dislodge cap fragments. Among my prize-winning books are Extreme Muzzleloading, Backyard Deer Hunting, Crossbow Hunting, and Practical Bow Fishing, and all of these are available as softcover and e-books. I have an 8-book e-book series out for 2013-14, including hunting with muzzleloading revolvers that will feature this pistol. For more information on my books, blogs, and nearly 350 videos, you can go to my website at www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.